Hey everybody, this is Tom from Rocket Restorations, and today we buy a 1966 Coronet, and my brother learns how to drive a 3 on the tree. This should be entertaining. This is from the Len Dawson collection. So for those of you who don't know, I just bought a giant NOS parts inventory. We're making a trip up here today and trying not to waste the trip. Ended up buying a couple of vehicles from him. I bought a really clean 1990 Dodge truck, and then I bought his original family-owned 1966 Dodge Coronet 440 two-door hardtop. It's a 318 poly with AC, and it's factory 3 on the tree stick. What a combo. This thing's had about 70 miles on it in 6 years, and we're about to drive it 150 miles home. Let's see how this goes. We're gonna go over to Les Schwab, who does free tire checks, and make sure the tires are gonna have air in them, because they look a little low. So Les Schwab's been around forever, like forever, ever. If you're not from the West, you might not know these guys, but they're just known for their customer service, tire shop, blah, blah, blah. But they'll do free tire pressure check. And looking at these tires, I think it needs them. They actually have metric markings on them. They're Lees. Not sure how old they are. Somebody smarter than me probably knows what that DOT number means. Well, it started out running really well. Now, not so much. We're gonna try to put some fresh gas in it and see what happens. I know a lot of people poo-poo ethanol-free gas, but I'm really a big believer in it. It didn't take much gas though, it has a lot, so I was kind of hoping to dilute the gas a little bit, but I guess that's not happening today. Dairy Queen Blizzard. Well, she's still running. Looks good going down the road. Well, made it to my brother's. It's actually running pretty good on the highway. Remember this girl? My brother bought that one. 1965 Chrysler 300L 4-speed in his Charger 500. And you can't know about that one. That one's secret. I made my brother drive it because I was driving my big truck with the NOS parts. It's like radiator's been replaced. Doesn't have the part numbers on it. What I'm really confused by is this is a factory AC car, but it looks like kind of a goofy setup on this. Like, there's a huge clutch with a single belt. I don't know, is that what they did in 66? I'm really not sure. It has a belt over there with a tensioner over here. It's kind of a goofy setup. Manual steering on it, manual brakes. This thing was pretty basic other than the AC. Still has the original Certicart with it too, which is super neat. So what this was for warranty work back in the day. So when you went into the dealership had their own card, and they had this, and they had like, it was like a kind of like a credit card machine thing. I've shown these in videos before, where they had the one card here, then we go with a credit card machine. And here's what one of those machines looked like. So you put the card in there, and then the dealer card's right there. That's Baggett Motors, Police Washington. And then this slides, boom, boom. The warranty paperwork's right there, so they didn't have to fill that out every time. And then they would, on the warranty work and the receipts, they would be able to see that. So that's cool. Leroy Dawson, Framingham, Massachusetts. Any Massachusetts guys watching? Shout out to you guys. So I guess that must have been his dad bought this new. I mean, Len's 90. He was old enough to buy this thing new. Wow, it's got a sure grip too. So they give you just kind of some basic information on here. So here's the VIN. WH, W's Coronet. H is 440 trim. Which 440. Also calls out the V8 on the fender, which is, you know, a 318 poly rather than a slant 6. 23 is two-door hardtop. E is the 318 polyspherical motor. You can tell that by the 2 bolts holding the valve covers down. It's also a lot wider than the LA. These are very heavy motors, very reliable, very tough motors, but obviously the LA 318 is a lot lighter. These are very heavy motors. They're almost as heavy as a big block. They're kind of based on the early Hemi designs, and they are heavy. These are called the A motors. The LA 318, 273, 360 was the LA, which meant light A. They're a lot later. 6 is the year, so 1966. 1 is the plant, Lynch Road, and the sequence number. That's the interior code right there. H4X, which is high interior trim. 4 is bench seat. X is black. You can see right here, black bench seat in excellent condition. And here's the dealer data book for 1966. So these are for the options. The other book would be the upholstery stuff. These are all combined by Ross Roy. And then we go to Coronet right here. So 6 or V8, 2-door, 4-door sedan, and with the interiors. And there was Deluxe, which is the base one. Coronet 440 was one step up. You can see the different interiors right there, and the different features on the Coronet 440, which I'm not going to go through all these. Curved side glass, that was a big deal those years. Choice of 17 beautiful and long-lasting acrylic enamel colors, and a Coronet 440 script in block letters above the trim. Because, you know, more trim means more expensive car. QQ1's the paint. Just wanted to show you guys this real quick too. This is the 1966 Dodge data book, the color and upholstery selector. So if you go under Coronet Charger, it shows you all the different color combos and what was available with what. You know, like blue exterior, could get blue interior, black or white. And it varied a lot. So QQ1 right there is red metallic. And the available interior with that was red, black, or white. Couldn't get anything else. And then here is the paint sample right here for it. These are really cool because these are actual paint samples from Chrysler, which is pretty neat. So red metallic, code QQ1, available on Dart 270, Dart GT, Coronet 440, Coronet 500, Charger, Polar, and Monaco. So pretty much the whole line. I love these books. There's so much good information in these things. And here's the interior for the Coronet 440 only. 2-door hardtop convertible and station wagon. So there was the red interior, the blue, tan, white, and of course the black that we have on this H4X. And that's the upholstery pattern that they used. T1 is transmission. So that's so T1 is the 3 on the tree, T3 is 4-speed, T5 is automatic. Pretty sure that's right. SG means sugar up. That's kind of cool. This thing actually had original sugar upper end in it. And then 0209 is the scheduled production date. This thing actually got built and sent out pretty quick because it was picked up on 2/28/66. I'm assuming this is probably an ordered car, just with how goofy it is. Yeah, the 209 is the sequence number there. That's the vehicle order number. Again, we just went over all that. 41 is the poly, 1 is the transmission, 3 on the tree, and then the 1 under the R is AM radio. I'll have to, fortunately I have the 69 and up tags memorized. I don't have these memorized. I'll have to look up the other codes. I'll do that for you. If I remember, I may or may not. All right, I was finishing editing the video and I realized I didn't finish decoding the Fender tag, and that's not who I am as a person. So I have a bad OCD, so I'm gonna go back and finish decoding it for you. Special thanks to Galen Govier for his books on these. These are very, very hard to translate without a decoder ring, and I'll help you out on this one. The 1 under the G is 26-inch radiator, which of course was standard with AC. Radio is 421, which is AM radio, which we went over earlier. S is heater, 411. Heater with air conditioning, which again, we already knew. Factory AC car. Still really cool. Man, look how clean that Fender tag is. It's pretty amazing. And then on the top row there, the small p is the mirror code. So they actually did order the remote mirror. That was like a $5 option that year. Super, super cheap, but that was ordered. And then the 1 under the U is ordered car. Here is his board in the back that he showed at car show. 66 Coronet, 440 hardtop, 318, 230 horse. Estimated production 114,000. Estimated surviving hardtops 200. I have no idea where that number comes from. That number seems low. I bet more of these survived than that. Cost was, the base price was $2,616. Cost as equipped was $3,221, and I bet the vast majority of that was the AC and the radio. That was probably pretty much all that, because I don't think this thing really has too many other options to it, because it's a pretty basic car. Gotta love a 3-pedal car, even if it's a bolt action rifle style. Interior on this thing is super nice. I love the dashes on these 66, 67 Coronets. They're just a really good looking dash. I don't know what it is about them. You know, well engineered, well laid out. You know, gas gauge over there, temperature gauge, 120 speedo. In 67, when the Coronet RT came out, you actually get a 150 speedo on these. All the idiot gauges in there. Those are famous. I don't know if you guys, I've seen a few of these over the years. You see the driver simulators. I've seen them with these dashes before, and they have all the idiot lights for the driver simulators from Driver Ed back in the day. You can get an optional clock down there. Obviously it's empty. On this, no clock because no options. The amp gauge right there, and then the AM radio with the AC vents underneath. On factory AC cars, they have the giant heater box underneath right there, and then vents in the middle, and then two little kind of pods on the sides. That one comes straight out of the heater box. That one is over on that side with kind of a hose that goes across the dash right there. What is that? Looks like they put a new turn signal switch and basically changed all the wires instead of just plugging it in. That was a pretty common thing back in the day, so looks like that's been changed. But that stuff works on it. It's not really too big of a deal. All right, what's in the glove box? So on these cars, they actually had, this was authorized dealer certification of required maintenance services. So they would put the date on there, the mileage, and then the dealer code of who did the service back in the day. So it looks like it put, wow, they put 8,000 miles on it in 6 months. So it was bought in February, and then by August, they already had 8,000 miles on it. Love some of the old man touches in these things. Ice scraper, emergency flasher kit. Ooh, lots of fuses, lots and lots of fuses. Flex grip elite pens, a couple pencils in there. And looks like the original owner's manual. That's cool. Includes warranty, Coronet 1966 spelled out. Your guide to carefree motoring. And then 2078. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe that was the stock number of the dealer, or maybe that was the key number. I'm not sure. And then this thing was actually sold new in Massachusetts. So right there. Netic Dodge. Hopefully I pronounced that right. You Massachusetts guys will probably yell at me. Delivery date was 2/8/66. That's interesting. Another dealer serviced it back in the day. I'm gonna have to go look at my dealer list and see what number that is, and see what dealer it went to second. Looks like Len had AAA. I want to keep that one handy. You never know. I do like the tail panel treatment on these. Just, you know, piece of chrome around it, one in the middle. It's not too cluttered, pretty clean. Underneath the trunk looks very, very clean. Original trunk mat in here. And the old man box. Very cool. 1866 Dodge spares for touring. Wow, there's a little bit of everything in here. So keep in mind, Len ran a NOS parts house. So wow, there's NOS spark plug lead. That's very cool. Looks like some extra headlights, extra NOS belts. What is that? Extra thermostat. That's wiring there, voltage regulator, extra cap, condenser. Oh, he's got a little bit of everything. New radiator hoses, new ignition switch. Yeah, there's pretty much everything here for your, if anything breaks on it, you're pretty much set to go. Extra fuel pump too, neat. And remember to use MileMaster automotive belts. I love it. It's like Reno, Chrysler, Plymouth. So that's from '84. So Len lived in Reno until he moved up here. I think he moved up here in the late '80s, early '90s. So not surprised most of that stuff came from there, because he's had this car in the family all of his life. Look at the originality back here. Original wiring, still has the tape on it. Be really careful with this trunk mat. I don't want to rip the original trunk mat because it's in such nice condition. These are like goofy fillers on them. They kind of like went through the quarter panel. It's weird. It's like he's done some fixing on this at some point. Yeah, the trunk looks really good. Just have a spare well down here. Still has a spare. Old bias ply one. Not sure I'd trust that, but I don't know. It's driven this far on bias plies. Seems to be doing okay. Okay, so this is bothering me, so I looked it up. It's actually Kentwood Chrysler Plymouth in Cincinnati, Ohio. Interesting. I'm going to have to ask Len if he remembers some of the first couple years history of this car, because it sounds like it moved around quite a bit from Massachusetts all the way to Cincinnati, and then Len ended up in Reno in the 70s, I believe. This thing's a champ. I got back after dark last night, so I didn't take any video after I got back, but this thing drove great. You know, the bi-sply tires tended to follow ruts a little bit going down the road, but she went great. The other thing I realized while looking at this thing is, you understand the guy who owned this owned a giant NOS parts company. So I'm pretty sure all the front end parts for this are all NOS. Like, you look at this stuff, there's like no dents, no dings. Everything's in like almost perfect condition. Like, these are so hard to find. These grill extensions right here, like impossible to find. Those are like thousands of dollars, and they're almost perfect on this car. All right, well, it's time to get this thing washed because it's dirty and it's bothering me. I actually didn't even use that much gas on the way up. We filled it up in Anacortes and it was 150 miles, I think, 100 miles. Only used like a quarter of a tank. By the way, for those who don't know, my brother actually did pretty good with the 3 on the tree. It is pretty easy. Just kind of how you, if you've never driven one of these before, you just kind of have to imagine a 3-speed on the floor. So in and up is reverse, in and down is first, out and up is second, down is third. That's it, out and down. Pretty easy. I call it the bolt action rifle because boom, boom, just like a rifle. Yeah, you get it. Looking good. It's funny. Normally when I wash these things, especially with, you know, used Mopars that have been sitting out, you always get like stuff coming out of the trim. This doesn't have anything. Just means it's never been parked under a tree, always been inside, always been taken care of. I really like this thing. Look how clean she is. She really cleaned up. All right, well, now it's time to put on the lift because I want to take a good look underneath, and we have a saying around here, lift don't lie. We'll see what the underside looks like. Let's take a look at the underside here. Looks very clean, thick undercoating underneath here. They always had a weird gas filler setup on these, so it like goes through the core panel with a rubber elbow, then goes to metal, then goes into the tank. It's always weird. Put a few of those together. So it's missing one body plug there. These look real nice. I don't see any, still has the original tab there. I don't know if those have been changed or not. 8 3/4. Does it still have the sure grip? It does. So easy way to tell sure grip. If you turn the tire and it goes in the same direction, it's sure grip. If it's opposite, it's an open. This has a sure grip. 323. They always gave you 323s with the 3-speed to give you a little more power going down the road. Exhaust looks pretty good. Muffler's definitely used, but I've seen worse. And the 3-speed manual transmission. Of course, there's no numbers on these. No VIN number to show you, but I'd be surprised if that was not original. Bell housing. There's the oil filter right there. The poly motor has a Y pipe, so single exhaust on the way back. Dual exhaust on these is a nice upgrade, but you know, these aren't exactly powerhouses. Front end stuff looks pretty good. Assuming he did all that before. That thing rolls really nice. Another really neat part about this is it has the factory sway bar, and I don't know if it came with that originally or if that was added. I think you pretty much had to get like tow package to get the sway bar, but the 66 sway bar is a very unique setup, and they're a little bit goofy. The 67 one is a little more conventional. They have the tab on the control arm. This one, it has kind of a clamp and then a bunch of brackets up there. Is that bent forward or is that how it's supposed to be? I think that's how it's supposed to be. But yeah, everything looks super, super clean underneath here. Bearings feel tight. Yeah, I don't see a lick of rust underneath here. Everything looks really, really nice. All the weak areas. The worst part on these is the trunk pan where the spare goes. This was kind of the lowest point in the trunk. So if the trunk ever leaked or water ever got in there, that was the first thing to rust. Even has the hold down brackets too. Those were for when they were shipped from the factory on the trains. That's where they would tie them down. That was the factory tie down bracket there. It's still there. A little bit of a weep hole there. It's never a bad thing to get the water out of the exhaust. There's the Z bar right there. All that stuff looks nice. Use electrical tape to keep the speedo cable out. That's real common for the speedo cables to hit the exhaust there and melt. But that is not big exhaust on that, is it? It's pretty tiny. Not much adjustment left on the clutch there. Yeah, everything looks very original, very nice underneath here. 741 case on the 8 3/4. One interesting thing about these, so there were, on the earlier cars, there was two different cases. 741 was the quote-unquote light-duty one. The 742 had a little bit bigger bearing. I've never really seen the difference. They used 741 all the way up till they stopped making these. The 42 got supplanted by the 49 in 69. It's always easy to tell which one it is because the 741 has an X on it right there. And then 42 has a big 2, and 49 has a big 9 on it. This thing has like, I don't think patina is the right word, but just like enough nicks, dings and stuff that, you know, I wouldn't worry about driving this at all. It's like maybe somebody jacked something up on that. That's kind of weird. Quarters look great. Wheel wells, really good. Rockers look good. Has a cool rocker molding on it. It's a nice little look there. Yeah, everything looks really nice underneath here. The Pentastar, you knew it was a Chrysler. Obviously it's been waxed a few times. You can see the wax residue on the edge there I didn't catch. You can see the reflection. A little bit of orange peel on the paint, you know, not a big deal. Bumper looks good up here. Maybe use a polishing. Lower fenders are real nice. Dog legs are good. A little bit of plant matter there. Yeah. Rocker looks good. Maybe a little dent right there. That's where the quarter and the rocker come together there. That all looks real nice. Quarter panel looks good. Looking a little bit closer at this thing, I did notice this. So there's actually a rivet here. I'm not sure exactly what's going on there, but I think it's probably had a quarter skin on this side, which, you know, not surprising. They pretty much all have at this point. And it's got another rivet over there. So I don't know if they didn't quite fully, that was probably just their way of holding it before they welded it back together doing the quarter panel. But you can see pretty clearly right there that this thing has had a quarter panel at some point. So I just made the executive decision that whoever buys this is gonna want an oil change because it's been 6 years and not very many miles. So I'm just gonna change the oil, even though it's pretty much brand new. We use kind of our shop oil I've been using here lately is, I don't know, everybody's got a different opinion on oil, but this one seems like it's pretty good. It's the Lucas Oil Products Hot Rod and Classic Motor Oil 1030. It's supposed to have high zinc in it. I don't know if it's any different or not, but we get this from Summit. It's 35 bucks for 5 quarts, which A, seems like a good deal, and I don't think it's too bad having more zinc in your oil. I am not going to make this an oil change video because I'm assuming most people who watch my channel know how to do that, but we always do it on a lift. We've got this high lift oil drain, so just go into there, and then the filter's super easy to get over here. It's going to make a giant mess on the exhaust, but it kind of is what it is. Oil looks a little dark for that many miles, but you know, 6 years old. The whole oil dripping onto the exhaust thing is annoying. I had to say that for the record. Out you go. Jamie from Dead Dodge Garage is working here today, and he wanted to drive it. He thoroughly approves. Because you're only supposed to have the Pentastar on the passenger side. Looks like someone wanted it on both sides. I'll show you a video of it starting up. Starts up real nice. Oil light comes off. Radio works. And then the AC turns on, but it's kind of making a horrible noise underneath the hood. I'm not sure if that's the fan clutch or the compressor. I talked to Len about it. He said it was some switch. I don't know. I need to email about that and double check, but AC's definitely gonna need some work to be fully functional. Alternator gauge works, fuel gauge, and temp gauge. Man, the more I drive this thing and look at it, the more I like this thing. Sigh. Can't keep them all. Jamie's also infatuated with this, and he keeps on calling it his car. We'll see what happens with that. Yeah, so it's finally all clean, so I can kind of show you some detail on the outside here. You know, it's not perfect. There's a few little nicks and dings. You know, one little chip there, a couple chips there. It had some fluid spilled on it at some point. So you can see like some drips right there. I don't even know if the camera's going to pick that up. It's so slight, but I bet that would buff out. There's another spot right here. Again, I'm not really sure where that's from, but you know, this thing pictures really well. It does have a little bit of orange peel, but as I said, it's very slight and very hard to see. Love the Coronet 440 emblems on here and the original hubcaps. They're really good looking hubcaps. Nobody ever puts these on. Everybody wants to put torque thrust on it or something like that. I don't know what it is about the 66 Coronet. I mean, this was kind of the first, maybe not totally clean sheet design after the 62 to 65B bodies, but it's definitely a huge step in the right direction. Elwood Engel, this is the first chance he really got to, this was totally his car. He got to do everything he wanted on it. And it's just very uniquely Mopar, you know, like so many of the cars before and after this were, you know, they copied Ford designs or GM designs, and this one's just Mopar. I love the roof. I love the two-door hardtop look on this. It's just, there really isn't a bad line on this car. You know, obviously everybody likes the later B bodies, the Super Bs, the Roadrunners, all this. And the 66s don't get as much love because, you know, the 67 had the Coronet RT. Had the performance model, you know, 66 didn't really have that. A good looking car. They were well put together. All right, well, if anyone's interested in this beautiful 1966 Dodge Coronet, it's being sold through the dealership, Rocket Resto Motors LLC. Our contact info is tom@rocketresto.com. Again, tom@rocketresto.com. I'm not going to put the price in the ad. Just shoot me an email if you're interested in it. I don't know, every time I put the price in the ad, it just ends up being a disaster. So just shoot me an email if you're interested in this thing, and hopefully we can find this a good home for you. If somebody's looking for a fantastic Mopar B-body driver, this one checks a lot of boxes. Well, this is Tom with Rocket Restorations. Appreciate everybody from watching. We'll talk to you soon. And to answer the question you've all been asking, yes, the sure grip does work.